Dear grade 12 students, welcome to today's English lesson. This is Writing 8A Part 2. Please make sure to have your workbooks and students' books around while you watch the video. There are three objectives to consider for today's lesson. You're expected to be able to recall the layout and some language features of a letter of complaint. 2. You're expected to be able to outline a plan of a letter of complaint. And finally, you're expected to be able to compose a letter of complaint applying the organizational and the language features learned. Let's start today's lesson by recalling the structure and the purpose of each of the parts of the letter of complaint. So, the first thing you need to include is a greeting. Then you should write your introduction. After that, you're to compose your main part, a conclusion, and a salutation. Well, what is special about the greeting? It needs to be a formal greeting. What should you include in the introduction? Wonderful. You should include the reason for writing. So, I am writing to complain. For the main part, you're expected to outline the problems. In the conclusion, you should include your demands and actions to be taken. Again, as the greeting, your salutation should be a formal one. Well, now I want you to open your workbooks on page 90. What can you see in this picture? What kind of text is that? Wonderful. It is an advertisement. What is advertised? It is a filter coffee machine with a lot of things to attract the reader so that they buy the product advertised. Well, next we will have a model letter of complaint, and you're supposed to fill in the gaps using suitable words. Now, I want you to go to page 91 in your workbooks. This is a model letter of complaint, and it is about the advertised coffee machine. You're supposed to fill in the gaps using the words in the box above. Let's do the first two gaps together as an example. So, to whom it may, what do you think? Well, it's to whom it may concern. I'm writing to express my strong with the Supreme Filter coffee machine. So I'm writing to express my strong dissatisfaction. So I'm not happy with the product. Pause the video and answer the rest of the questions. Well, my main reason for purchasing the product was its inbuilt safety feature. However, a gap, this function wasn't working. However, to my surprise, this function wasn't working and the machine failed to turn itself off after half an hour as promised in the advertisement. Moreover, the advertisement clearly stated that you can make up to 10 cups of coffee with this coffee machine, but it was only possible to make half this amount. But in reality, to make the coffee it made was almost cold. So to make matters worse. Let's go to the last paragraph. At the I believe I am entitled to. At the very least, I believe I'm entitled to a full refund. Unless I hear from you soon, I am afraid I will be forced to take this matter further. So we have a formal greeting, a formal salutation. Let's analyze the first paragraph. I want you to tell me what should be there in the first paragraph. Excellent. In the first paragraph, we should write the reason for writing. Moving on to the main part, there should be your problems with the product or the service you're complaining about. Well, moreover, so we have one problem before and one problem after. To make matters worse, we have a third point to complain about. In the last paragraph, we should include our demands. So I'm entitled to a full refund. This is one. And we have, unless I hear from you soon, I'm afraid I will be forced to take this matter further. So this is all we have for this model. For now, I want you to open your students' books on page 117. This is exercise D, and it goes like, you have received a product you ordered online, but there are problems with your order. Write a letter or an email of complaint to the company you bought it from, outlining the reasons why you're not satisfied and what you expect them to do about it. Okay. This question can be divided into two main parts: a situation and a task. So, the situation is that you have received a product you ordered online, but there are problems with your order. The task is what you should be doing. You should write a letter of complaint. So, the next time you read a writing prompt or a writing question, make sure you understand where the situation is and what you're supposed to be writing about in your task. One very important thing to do before you start writing is to plan your writing. You need to make sure that you understand how many paragraphs should be there in your writing, what should be included in each of the paragraphs. For now, I want you to decide on the product you will be complaining about, the problems with the product, and the actions you want to be taken. Pause the video and plan your writing. Well, you can complain about a TV. The problems may be about the delivery people refusing to unpack the television. You might get the wrong size screen. The screen was cracked. You were charged twice for the television. So any problems can be accepted in this part as long as they are related to the purpose of the complaint. In the last paragraph, you should include the actions to be taken. So I want to return the television and I want to get a full refund. So remember to plan your writing before you start writing. Before you start writing, I want you to go through those really important tips. So, when writing a letter or an email of complaint, use a formal greeting, use a formal salutation by the end of your letter or email of complaint. Put in mind that your salutation should be yours faithfully if you do not know the name of the person you're writing to, and it should be yours sincerely if you know the name of the person you're writing to. So, if it is Dear Sir, Madam, you're to use yours faithfully. If it is, or if your greeting is Dear Mr. Ahmed, your salutation should go like yours sincerely. State clearly why you're writing in the opening paragraph. So the purpose for writing includes specific details, dates, product numbers. Give specific examples about your complaint, and this will go in the main part, your second paragraph. Be clear about what action you want to be taken, and this should be included in your conclusion. Use linking words, phrases to list and add points, to express contrast, to express result, consequence, to express cause, reason, and to express emphasis, which will add a lot to your writing. So linking words are of extreme importance, and there are many different kinds of linking words. Be firm but polite. Do not be aggressive. So you should put in mind that we shouldn't be rude when writing our emails of complaint. Before you start writing, I want to remind you about those great and useful expressions and phrases you can include in the different parts of your email of complaint. So make sure to go through these before you write. Now it's time you start writing. In paragraph 1, we should include the purpose of writing, and we're writing to complain about a faulty television. You've got 5 minutes to write the first paragraph. Pause the video and start writing. Well, we have a formal greeting, Dear Sir, Madam, and this is used because we do not know the name of the receiver. We don't know the name of the person we're writing to. This is an example, a model for the introductory paragraph or the first paragraph of our letter of complaint. You can pause the video one more time to read it. Moving on to the second paragraph, where you should include the complaint reasons, and these are the reasons we planned before we started writing. Pause the video, you've got 10 minutes to write the main part. Well, this is a model for the main part where you should include the details of your complaint. Moving on to the third and the last paragraph, your conclusion, where you should include the actions to be taken, your demands. Pause the video and write your conclusion. This is a model for the conclusion, and our salutation should go like yours faithfully, because as you know, we don't know the name of the person we're sending our email of complaint to. Now let's put together all the parts of our letter of complaint. So we have formal greeting. This is the introductory paragraph where you should include the purpose of writing. I am extremely dissatisfied. Your main part should include the details to begin with. Furthermore, and finally, so there are 4 problems in your letter of complaint. Moving on to the conclusion, we have the demands, the actions we want to be taken, and finally your salutation. Okay, what if you know the name of the person you're sending your letter to? What should change? Wonderful. Your salutation should change. So, we don't know the name of the person we're sending our complaint to. We use yours faithfully. If we know the name, we use yours sincerely as a salutation. One last very important thing to consider is that the email or the letter of complaint is written using formal language, and if you're writing formally, you should consider the words you use. So I'm writing regarding is better than I am writing about. So dissatisfied is better than unhappy, and so on. So you should choose formal and advanced vocabulary. One other thing to consider is using full verb forms. You shouldn't use contracted or short forms. So if you're writing formally, you're to write I am, not I am, is not, and you shouldn't use isn't. You should write I would not, I'd like. So these are 2 features of formal language among other features, but at least take care of these two features. This is the end of today's English lesson. Thanks for watching, and remember, this video will always be available on Microsoft Teams for you to watch at any time.